This is Nick.
This is Jack.
Welcome back. It is Monday, January 27th, and today's pod is the best one yet. This one, it's a T-boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
But Jack, how was the hot tub? I can tell you've been spending a lot of time there over the last 48 hours.
True, I told you we had a mad day on Saturday, a mortgage appreciation day. You're not allowed to do any house chores or any work on your house. Just enjoy the house like it's a vacation house.
Well, your hands are still pruny. I can see them from here, Jack. In the meantime, 3 stories for today's show. What do we got on the pod, man?
For our first story, the maker of Ozempic just unveiled an even more powerful weight loss drug.
If you shop online too much or scroll Instagram too much, the new cure may be Ozempic.
For our second story, it's Kidz Bop. They've been making kids' versions of adult music for 25 years. Cardi B for babies.
Kidz Bop, their real innovation? It's the re-creator economy.
And our third and final story. 1 week into the Trump presidency, CNN is overhauling its entire business.
We're going to tell you why CNN is having plastic media surgery.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories.
I mean, fantastic mix of stories. There's no better mix. I love the mix, Jack.
To quote Beyonce, all the single ladies, all the single ladies.
Because guess who's driving the housing market right now, Yetis?
That's kind of a leading question.
Single ladies.
According to Sotheby's International, the biggest new buyers of luxury real estate are single women.
Jack, to quote Diana Ross, it's my house and I live here.
According to the data, women were the sole owners of 20% of American homes in 2024.
That is twice the percentage from just 30 years ago.
And those solo ladies that are owning homes are also the fastest growing segment of luxury real estate.
A villa in Italia owned by a single lady.
The mansion in Mallorca, unmarried woman.
Jack's ski chalet just outside of Chamonix.
It's owned by Charlotte.
Yep.
And yeah,
she's single. But here's the fascinating twist, Yetis. It is single ladies on both sides of the age spectrum that are snapping up all this real estate.
That's right. It's both boomers and millennials. Because on the one hand, older women are living longer than their husbands, so they're buying a new home.
But on the other hand, young working women are putting off marriage and treating themselves to a brand new home instead.
And this combination has driven an unprecedented pop in the housing market.
We call it the single lady home surge.
It's all proof that you don't need a man, you just need a mortgage.
And again, Jack, just to quote Beyonce, I got a gloss on my lips and a man on my hips.
Sorry, I don't have another Diana Ross quote.
But I got a condo in Cabo. Let's hit our 3 stories, baby.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy just revealed a new drug that is better than both.
But there's also a game-changing side effect to this drug. You ready for this? You won't just eat less, you will sin less too.
Take Ozempic, scroll less TikTok. We'll explain.
Seriously.
Yetis, Europe's most valuable company. It's not LVMH luxury anymore. It's now Novo Nordisk.
Because Novo Nordisk created the weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy, which are beloved by celebrities and taken by millions and millions of Americans.
Yes, they are. But the trial results for their new drug, amycretin, Jack, what were the numbers?
Novo Nordisk just published the results on Friday, and they got near perfect scores in their early randomized trials.
Novo Nordisk paid 125 overweight, obese people to take 1 shot per week for 36 weeks.
Those that took this experimental new weight loss drug lost 22% of their body weight in the 36-week trial.
That's more than a fifth of your body weight. 22%. Jack, that's like a leg.
And those who didn't take the drug, those who took the placebo, they actually gained a little bit of weight.
In fact, the average person who took this new trial drug weighed 204 pounds.
Which means the average person who took this new drug lost 45 pounds in just 36 weeks.
Again, it's like cutting off your leg just by taking a drug.
What a wildly successful weight loss trial this was.
Now, Yetis, Jack and I got more curious about this. And basically, if Ozempic was a breakthrough analogous to the nuclear bomb,
then this amycretin result we just saw might be the hydrogen bomb.
Now, larger, later stage trials are needed before amycretin can get approval and eventually come to the market.
But if it does, it could accelerate the adoption of these weight loss drugs. Could make these weight loss drugs like the new Tylenol.
Basically, your buddies could be popping these things. Everyone at the brunch table's taking them.
Although we should point out they're going to be way more expensive than Tylenol.
Because, Yetis, this new drug results potentially in more weight loss, faster weight loss, fewer side effects, and some wild side effects we'll get to in a moment.
So it's potentially Ozempic 2.0.
I kind of want to say it's Ozempic 3.0. Jack.
Okay. No, it was such a big breakthrough that Novo Nordisk stock jumped 10% on Friday, adding $35 billion of value to the company.
Not too shabby. That's like 7 lifts.
But there's an even bigger impact from these GLP-1 drugs that's emerging that we have been waiting to share.
And it's going to affect your online shopping. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Ozempic?
With these weight loss drugs, you don't just eat less, you sin less too.
Now, Yetis, we all know that these GLP-1 drugs, they suppress the chemical in your body that makes you crave food. Everyone talks about them related to food.
But it turns out they suppress more than just your appetite for food.
Yeah, new anecdotal evidence shows that these weight loss drugs actually reduce a lot of compulsive behaviors.
Like drinking and smoking cigarettes and using opioids.
Oh, not just food and drugs. These weight loss drugs may also suppress your urge to gamble or even your urge to shop online for those cute tops.
There's even some signs that these GLP-1 drugs reduce your impulse to scroll social media.
Now, more trials are needed to measure the impact on these other compulsive behaviors.
But if it turns out that these weight loss drugs reduce all of your uncontrollable and often unwanted desires,
I mean, Jack, there could be enormous economic impacts on our economy way beyond the food industry.
Ozempic could affect Amazon because people might online shop less.
Ozempic could affect Instagram because you have less of a scrolling feeling.
This is a huge topic to watch in 2025.
Oh, you're buying too many cute tops on Temu? Maybe you start taking Ozempic.
We want to see the results. Do these weight loss drugs also make you sin less?
For our second story, after 25 years, Kidz Bop is still the power business in kids music, maybe even more powerful.
Because Kidz Bop is the music industry's favorite training wheels.
All right, Jack. Childhood CDs. Why don't you whip out the CD tower over there?
I think we're listening to the same music from New York City with you and rural Vermont for me. Jock Jams Volume 1.
I had volume 1, 2, 3, and 6.
Disney Show Tunes Greatest Hits.
4, 5, and 12.
Now that's what I call music.
Volume
27.
Oh, so close, so close. But yet, despite all of those CDs, Yetis, the most successful kids music business of all is Kidz Bop.
Kids with a Z. Even though CDs are gone, Kidz Bop has never been bigger today.
We got fascinated about that, so we jumped in T-Boy style. Yetis, Kidz Bop, they've been around since 2001. Jack, how would you describe this exactly?
They publish sanitized, child-friendly covers of popular pop songs.
They basically child-proof the kids' songs, is what we're saying.
Yeah, parental advisory sticker. They basically just peel it off for you.
It's off. They target anyone 4 to 12 years old. Basically too old for Barney, but not quite ready for Beyonce.
They'll take Blink-182's All the Small Things and turn it into a G-rated sing-along song for the minivan.
Training wheels for T-Pain. They edit away the references to sex, drugs, rock and roll, and they replace Cardi B with the 9-year-old ensemble.
Hang on, they don't edit out references to rock and roll. Did you mean like violence or something?
I'm going with violence. I was thinking violence. Volume 1 came out in 2001. Who was featured in that CD, Jack?
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and my favorite, Smash Mouth.
But sung by kids. And Jack, who's in Volume 50 coming out right now?
Songs by Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, and Taylor Swift.
But again,
sung by kids.
Jack, can I read you an example of this? Because did you listen to Kidz Bop growing up? Did you hear any of this?
I did not. I actually, this is totally new to me.
Let me give you a great example I found of this. Okay, lyric changes go like this. Lady Gaga sang in a song, out in the club, sipping on the bub.
All right.
You want to hear the Kidz Bop Volume 10 version?
Yeah.
Out in the club, eating all that grub.
That That is dad approved.
But here's the news, Yetis. Kidz Bop just released their 50th album. Yeah, it's called Kidz Bop Volume 50.
So we're jumping into the business. In 25 years, Kidz Bop has sold 25 million albums. How consistent is that?
Very consistent, Jack. And according to Forbes, Kidz Bop is now 23% of the entire kids music category.
They have 24 Billboard Top 10 albums, which is more than Taylor Swift, almost as many as the Rolling Stones and the Beatles.
Again, if you're playing a kid song to your child, 1 out of 4 of those songs is probably a Kidz Bop song.
Basically, what Miss Rachel is on YouTube
Yes.
and Bluey is on TV,
I like where you're going.
Kidz Bop has become for music.
Nailed it. Oh, and they've expanded their revenue streams because they now do a live tour every year and collabs with Chuck E. Cheese and Lego.
The funniest part that Nick and I found is that the founders are not typical entrepreneurs and they don't even do music.
How did they even figure this out exactly, Jack?
2 dads with law degrees basically had expertise in structuring licensing deals that wouldn't violate copyright law, but still be pop songs that, everybody knows.
And the business insight here is kind of that both the kids and the parents are the customers. Because if you're a parent, you're probably listening with your kids and you control the dials. You don't want something you don't like.
Baby Shark? No, you don't.
So the music is stuff that parents recognize, but kids also can enjoy. No offense to Raffi, but So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Kidz Bop?
Never underestimate the recreator economy.
Yetis, that's actually a takeaway Jack and I crafted 4 years ago, back in 2021, when Mr. Beast published a viral video.
Here's the video's title, $456,000 Squid Game in Real Life. That video has almost 1 billion views right now.
Yeah, it got 1 billion views because there's huge business in recreating something that already exists.
Mr. Beast recreated the game in Squid Game in real life.
And that's what Kidz Bop is doing too, and it works. The artists they're covering, they're not just on board, they're enthusiastically on board to be covered.
Because Chappell Roan gets licensing revenue every time an album is sold, plus future fans who listen to the Kidz Bop version of her tracks as they were kids.
It's a gateway product. So creating something based off an original idea, that is one way you can do things. It's tough, but you can definitely do that.
The other way is to recreate something. Never underestimate the recreator economy.
Hey Yetis, if you're a bestie, take a sec and hit that subscribe button.
And like this video while you're at it. If you leave a comment, by the way, we'll read it.
For our third and final story, CNN is making the biggest business makeover in its 45-year history.
There's been no Trump news bump for CNN, so they're going back to their roots.
But Yetis, if you think that there is just way too much news noise in the world right now, we know who you can blame.
Ted Turner. He's the billionaire who launched CNN in 1980. Cable News Network.
This was the beginning of the cable industry, and this CNN was the first ever 24-hour news channel.
Which is kind of strange, because at 2 a.m., what is the news to report?
Well, Jack, 1 second. Breaking news. Man who is reported missing has been found. He was fishing.
He was just fishing. Thank you, CNN, for that breaking news.
Yetis, CNN. They had a good run. For 45 years, cable news on TV, it was a great business. It was a profit puppy.
Over 100 million American households were paying $100 a month for cable, and about $5 of that cable bill went to CNN's pockets.
But you know the story about cord cutting cable? It's been dying. However, there is one new twist that you should know about.
Unlike in Trump's first term, Trump's second term has not resulted in a ratings bump for the cable news channels.
That's right. Despite 1,000, executive orders last week, CNN is not getting more coverage as they expected they would.
In fact, CNN just had its worst ratings week in 2 years. It's well behind MSNBC and Fox News right now.
So the new CEO of CNN, Mark Thompson, isn't doing a makeover of the channel. He's doing a full-on surgery of the channel.
He just announced last week 200 layoffs to the CNN TV division, but at the same time, he's hiring 200 new people for the digital team.
That's right, Yetis. He's not just putting cosmetics on CNN. He's full-on rearranging the company.
And CNN is actually inspired by a business model we've covered many times before.
Where have we seen this, Jack?
The New York Times.
That's right.
They fund their news journalism with other stuff.
Because Yetis, the New York Times has defied the rest of the newspaper industry by developing a thriving games app, a thriving cooking app. They even have a shopping review business, Wirecutter, that is doing its best in years.
That's why me and all my friends have the same spatula because we all just got what Wirecutter told us to get.
Well, it's working for the New York Times business. Basically, everything we just described, the lifestyle things from the New York Times, subsidize their news division.
And now CNN is going to launch something similar. There's a new CNN health and lifestyle business coming soon.
And funny thing, Yetis, it's actually perfect that Mark Thompson, the new CEO of CNN, is borrowing a strategy from the New York Times.
Because he used to be the CEO of the New York Times.
Yeah, he like literally is using the same spreadsheets.
But as CNN tries to launch CNN Plus again, we're looking at Ted Turner.
Again. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at the new CNN?
Markets are not the Marines. They will leave a man behind.
Oh, yeah, they will. Yetis, when Ted Turner launched CNN 45 years ago, he had this really good quote about the industry. He said, "Give people news when and where they want it."
In 1980, TV is where people wanted news, and they wanted it 24/7. So that's what CNN did.
But in 2025, people want their news at a different time and in a different place.
New York Times realized this 2 decades ago.
They did.
So they made the shift from print to digital, and from just news to lifestyle, too.
And honestly, you can see it in the New York Times stock price.
Now CNN is finally making the change. They're finally remembering their founder's quote. Give people the news when and where they want it.
Because the Marines, yeah, they leave no man behind. But if you don't adapt, the markets, they will gladly leave you behind. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us to kick off the week?
Novo Nordisk just released early trial results of what we're calling Ozempic 2.0.
But the bigger deal, what is it, Jack?
It looks like their weight loss drugs don't just make you eat less, they make you sin less too.
If your credit card bill is too big, your doctor may prescribe Ozempic.
Yeah, your financial advisor might, actually. For our second story, Kidz Bop has been selling hit albums for 25 years of child-friendly pop covers.
Never underestimate the recreator economy.
And our third and final story, CNN is performing surgery on itself. And it'll have what New York Times is having.
Because the Marines, yeah, they leave no man behind. But markets, they'll gladly leave you behind.
But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, Puma, the sports apparel brand, has a profit problem. Stock of Puma, it dropped 20% last week like I pulled a hammy.
Blame it on the new CEO. He tried to take Puma up market and make it fancy, but Puma's customers kind of pissed about it.
Good point of comparison. Puma's rival Adidas, their stock is up 50% in the last year.
Fun fact, Puma and Adidas were founded by brothers who became rivals, and their headquarters are in the same city on opposite sides of the river.
But that's a story for another pod.
Second, home sales just fell to their lowest level in nearly 30 years.
Get this, only 4 million homes were sold last year. Back in 2021, 6 million were sold.
It's the lowest level since 1996.
Yeah, blame it on stubbornly high interest rates and stubbornly high record home prices.
If you're a millennial trying to buy your first home, this sucks.
And finally, would you pay $3,000 for a used iPhone just because it has TikTok?
I might.
Yeah.
Because here's the situation. Google and Apple have both banned TikTok from their app stores. But if you have it on your phone already, you can still keep using it.
Yeah, so Yetis, Jack deleted the app to see what would happen.
And now I can't get it back because
Yes.
it's not available on the App Store.
Apparently, a bunch of people did this, and now they will spend $3,000 for a used iPhone just because it has TikTok already.
Without TikTok on my phone, my productivity has soared.
Yeah.
Soared.
Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by rocket entrepreneur Ricardo Dina over in San Francisco.
We recently did a story on the size of the U.S. retail return industry. Basically, how many Christmas and Hanukkah gifts did you send back?
Well, get this. The total value of returned goods in America is larger than the GDP of all but 19 countries.
America returned $890 billion worth of goods last year.
Jack, could you sprinkle on a little more context on that?
So we returned more dollar amount of stuff than the entire economic output of all but 19 countries.
Wrap it up. Yetis, you look fantastic to kick off the week. And if you know a single lady who just bought a penthouse, Tell her HYHTBOY.
Because we just did an intro about her whole situation.
She's probably doing pretty well right now. So HYHTBOY, have you heard the best one yet? That's how we grow this show every day.
Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. If you know, you know. And before we go, a happy birthday to Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky up in Canada, who are celebrating with some Stanley mugs.
And happy birthday to Casey Haley in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And Austin Jacobs turning 31 in San Jose, California, but partying in Tahoe, not too shabby. Well played, Austin.
That's where I had my honeymoon, Austin. Good choice. The water's clearer than ever.
And David C. in Fremont, California just achieved their goal of 150 words per minute. Reading, writing, speaking, we don't know, but we like it.
And congratulations to Blaine Davis Johnson, who's got a new job in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh yeah, over at Crew, new wine bar, and he's got PTO and a 401k, not too shabby.
Benefits. Jobs
Not
and benefits.
Too shabby. And besties, if you want a shout out on the show or you got a buddy who deserves a shout out, fill out the form. We got a link in our episode description.
This is Jack. I own stock in Amazon and Disney, and Nick and I both own stock in Spotify.